Hello, testing, one, two, three. Yeah, so it's really pissing me off how the Republicans keep saying access, access, access to healthcare. What the hell are they talking about? I think it's pretty obvious. I think people are on to what they mean. It's like you have access to Ferraris. But look, so let's take my case. So I had brain surgery when I was 27. My doctor said I was 100% cured, which sounds odd for brain surgery, but I had a hemorrhage. I had a leaky vessel. They went in there, cauterized it. That's not going to happen again. Something else could happen. But that's not going to happen. So, um, I tried to buy health care when I was out of work, um, though I didn't have much money to live off in the bank. And I couldn't get on. So for the price, but I got my wife and my two daughters on, and for the price of that, it was the same price as it would have been for two adults and two kids. It's a family price, and I couldn't get it. So did I have access to healthcare? Well, I would say no, I didn't have access to healthcare. Now I could have just paid for healthcare myself if I had a problem, and I would have faced that if I was forced to. But in the meanwhile, I had a problem where I had an allergic reaction. I was burning some brush, burned some papaya, didn't know it was poisonous. I blowed it all up. They gave me steroids. It was from the free clinic and giving me, expired Benadryl and stuff. And, of a place that since shut down shortly after that and isn't even available to people. So, did I have access to healthcare? Well, now, whatever it is now, 3 years ago, I started my own business, just doing contracting so I could live where I want. And having access to healthcare meant that I could buy on an individual market that was now mandated that this individual market exists. And mind you, back then, I wouldn't even have minded if they would say, hey, we're not covering any brain surgeries, but broken legs and other things, but they just keep you off entirely. All right. So I don't get a subsidy. I have actually got a subsidy when I've been out of work, but by the end of the year, I got work back, and I end up having to pay that all back in my taxes. Though month to month, it's still nice that the health care bill gets paid when I have no money coming in, but I end up having to pay it back through my taxes, right? And this is basically was a cost of why I had to 1 year ago when I first moved here go on a payment plan for a bunch of taxes, and that it was basically that amount. So I have access though to buy it at least with my own money, paying full price. And it's been going up for years, way before Obamacare. It was just going up and going up. It's just been crazy because I pay half of it even when I'm an employee. Um, Though you forget you're doing that because it's taken right out of your paycheck. But did I have access? Well, I have access if that it sounds like they're going to keep that part of the situation, which isn't going to be good for me though, because there's no price cap, and they're going to take away the part of the group that brings it down. And it's like, yeah, no kidding. The healthy people that end up not going to the doctor are paying for the people that do go. That's how insurance works. It's like when the fire department comes and uh, puts out the house on fire, and the one guy that never has a house fire that pays taxes for that fire department, yeah, he's paying for the fires that do happen. That's how insurance works. But anyway, I will be able to buy health insurance at some exorbitant rate because of if they keep the no pre-existing condition. But I could do that before. When Kaiser Permanente turned me down, I could have gone into these insurers. They just would have charged 10 times as much, and you kind of have to take your chances. You don't have the option of spending $100,000 a year on health care, but you had access. You just didn't have the money. So that's ridiculous. And the other thing I wanted to ask is I don't get why they say that you can keep your doctor turned out to be a lie. First of all, it's ridiculous. That's the kind of lie we were dealing with Obama, whereas Trump is just lying. I won the most electoral colleges forever. But anyway, seriously, I'm not saying it's not a lie. I don't get how even people are constructing that it might be a lie because, okay, what happened? There were some like partial healthcare plans or these subsidiary type plans. They just cover certain things, kind of like gambling. What's going to happen? Maybe they give you $40,000 if you lose a hand, but you have to pay for your own emergency things. You know, they put lower limits, and some of those plans had to go away. But by the Republican definition of access, they still had access to those doctors. If they were going to a doctor on a plan that got taken away, they could still go to that doctor. And if they got one of the other plans as mandated, then surely that doctor would have been covered. I mean, because it's only, they took away lower quality plans and forced the plans to be higher quality and cover things. So that plan would still cover that other doctor, right? Unless you couldn't afford that plan, you took the penalty. Is that what they're talking about? Because by the Republican definition of access, you still have access in that case. So, but I just think that one's just made up. I don't see how people lost their doctor because of it. 20 million people got doctors that they didn't have. Anyway, if anybody has an answer to that, I'd be interested in reading or watching your video. And as far as to how they're using the word access, it's just disgusting.